but he told me he was going to go stay with a friend for 2 weeks. We're going to watch a bunch of anime and get high.
Is that legal? Are they allowed to do that?
I don't know.
Watch anime? I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jews aren't allowed to watch anime, man. It's not kosher.
What?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai, and joining me tonight, I have our Chivalry of Shota's Shotaro.
Get a taste of this Punani Dasani.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Is that from WAP?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The best song ever? Of course.
Waiting for the Kids Bop version to drop.
Oh my god. And our Zarp source material, John.
Now filmed before a live audience.
Oh god. See, you couldn't have followed show with anything any funnier.
I couldn't have.
The key to humor is just to be as lewd as possible.
Okay, Cardi B.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how you do everything. Just say lewd things.
Oh.
All right. Yeah.
God damn it.
So
Welcome
tonight,
to the Cardi B
tonight
podcast,
on the
guys. We're going to discuss
Oh,
wet ass
Jesus.
pussy.
No, we're not doing that. Shut the fuck up.
Who's wetter, Cardi or me? Okay, no.
Show.
Yeah, okay. No.
I think we all know the answer to that.
Oh.
It's you.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so tonight, both Sho and John and I are going to be talking about our both love and hate for the isekai genre. But first, I want to get to a new segment we're going to be doing on the podcast. Probably not every single week, just as needed. And this is actually something that Ty came up with. We've recently added a new channel on our Discord server, which you should definitely join down below in the description, for people to send us questions. And these can be any kind of questions at all. They don't have to be about anime or manga or anything otaku related, which I think both of the ones that we got so far are definitely not otaku related.
Mm-hmm.
But I am just going to get right into them. So the first one we have is from String Theory on our Discord server. Asks, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Okay, first off, great Monty Python reference, and second, you didn't give us enough information on this question. You did not specify an African or European swallow.
And I would also like to add,
God, I love Monty Python.
It's not a matter of African or European. It's a simple matter of weight to wingspan ratio.
God, I love Monty Python. We should do a Monty Python watch party at some point on our Discord server.
I'd fucking do it. Life of Brian. And
yes,
the Holy Grail.
Oh, that'd be great for around Christmas time for Life of Brian.
I'm not the Messiah. He's the Messiah.
He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. But yeah, that's the answer to your question. You didn't give us enough information. But anyway, the second question we have is, I guess, a little more serious, depending on how you want to look at it. Young Seagull asks, what is the golden ratio of thighs to chest size?
Thighs to chest, 7 to 3.
Show? I think we should ask Show.
Okay. Show?
0 to 0?
0 to 0? What?
What do you like? Well, he does like 2D boys.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fair point. Fair point.
They are very flat.
And they do not exist.
That's the best
When you
part.
divide 0 by 0, it just doesn't exist.
I mean, for a question like this, there's no one answer. It's very specific to your taste. I mean, I personally like thick thighs and a somewhat smaller chest.
All right, but here's the thing. He asked for the golden ratio, all right? As we know, with human anatomy, Fibonacci sequence suggests Anyway.
No, I was gonna let you keep going. This
No,
is
I'm
really
just
good.
throwing. I'm the dumbest fucking Asian guy you'll ever meet. I know nothing of math. Like I know that there's something called the golden ratio, and I know there's something called a Fibonacci sequence. I have no idea what either of those are though. Anyway,
but yeah, I mean, I think personally something like this is just a matter of personal taste and what you kind of like, physically with whatever you're looking for, whether it be a male or a female partner. Personally, I like thick thighs and small chest.
I thought I had it all together.
I didn't say Kana, but I might have been thinking Kana.
Oh god, I'm gonna have to remake that intro.
Anyway, as I mentioned, if you actually do want to ask us questions, you can join our Discord server. The link is below in the description, and you can put any kind of question you want in that channel. It can be about anime, it can be about us, it can be about random stuff like this. So moving on to the actual topic we have for tonight, I mentioned it before, we're going to be talking about the isekai subgenre. That's actually something we want to talk about, it whether it should be classified as a genre or a subgenre, or maybe even just a formula for a narrative. But it might actually be better to start out with what is isekai. Like, it's all around us, especially in the last 5 or 6 years, but what exactly is it? I mean, I think the simplest way to describe it is just literally any kind of story where a protagonist starts out in one world and goes to another. It doesn't necessarily have to be our world, because there's this thing called the reverse isekai where people from another world come to our world.
No. I don't believe in that. That doesn't exist.
Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't exist. That's exactly what The Devil is a Part-Timer is.
Yeah.
Wait.
And
But is that not just an isekai?
So, I think you guys are getting way ahead of it. All right, we gotta tone it down for the dum-dums like me. So, I definitely, like textbook, what does isekai mean? It just means another world, right?
Yeah, that's literally what the term means, another world.
With that being now out there, I think when we do say isekai, though, we do refer to like someone from the human world is now in another fantasy / just different world. It doesn't have to be like, it could be in the future, it could be something else. Like, it's weird. Like, isekai technically just means a different world. So, like, if you technically go into the past, it's technically a different world than the one you are in.
No.
Because there's an
yes.
There's an Oda Nobunaga
it's
one.
It's the same world.
No, but he falls down the ditch and he gets isekai'd into the past, and now he's Oda Nobunaga instead of actual
Isn't that
Nobunaga.
Just time travel?
No, it's isekai.
No.
He just says this because he wants Inuyasha to be an isekai.
Inuyasha? First of all, that is a different world, okay? Freaking whatever. Anyway, yeah, I definitely think it's just any character, as long as our main character goes to a different world setting, like whether it's future setting, past setting, fantasy setting, whatever setting you want to fucking call it, then yes. Because there's also another one where like a guy freaking dies and he isekais into like this futuristic spaceship like battles game that he used to play. It's like he's in a game, but it's a different world because it's real now. It's really weird.
That brings up a good point though, because like there's these stories about being trapped in a game. Like Overlord is a good example, or Sword Art Online, right? But some people don't consider those isekai.
Well,
even though you are existing in another world, whether it's temporarily or permanently.
Yeah, so for Sword Art, it's kind of like Dot Hack, the original isekai that I remember. They're just in a video game world, so it's not technically a new world, but it is a world. It is a real world to them because their consciousness is in there. And spoilers for Sword Art: if you die in the game, you die in real life. Oh,
it's kind of like the Matrix.
And
if you die in the Matrix, you die in real life.
Is an isekai.
Actually, no, kind of is, because they're trapped in a digital world, and then until Keanu Reeves decides to become the one, and he takes the red pill. Is that what it was?
Yes.
It's been so long since I've seen The Matrix, but Yeah, technically the Matrix is an isekai because it's a different world. Even if it's just a cyber world or it's a world in a game, as long as it's a different setting where they exist and there are consequences for their actions, like they die in real life, I'd call it an isekai. It makes sense.
I think Sho disagrees with this, though.
I have a lot of disagreements on a lot of different things that have been said. But, okay, so technically you're right that on the basic definition of isekai, anyone moving from one world to another is technically isekai. But I think the spirit of the term is supposed to refer to someone from the human realm going to a fantasy realm and staying in the fantasy realm for the majority of the story.
Okay.
Once you start getting like half of the time in the real world and half of the time in the isekai, it's like, is it really isekai? Technically, yes, but not like, it doesn't feel like an isekai.
I would definitely agree that I don't think SAO or .hack is an isekai, like in a traditional sense, because you're right, like they don't actually stay there. There's a real world they can go back to, and it's kind of like
Sword Art Online
weird.
is, well, at least the first season, it technically fits the criteria because most of the story is being told in the game. So I'm fine with that.
But then after like Volume 2, they kind of zap
after
out
Volume
of that,
2, we don't
so...
talk about after Volume 2, okay? That doesn't exist.
We don't talk about... Didn't you like Alicization? What?
For different reasons. For different
like the
gay
cute boy.
reasons that have nothing to do with the plot.
Just the cute gay boys. Okay,
but
got
also, Alicization, most of the time they spent in the game. So that also does not reflect anything. But yeah, speaking specifically about Trapped in a Game, okay. This is all...
What about Overlord?
This all...
Because they stay in that game.
Before I get into it, I will like say that I think Trapped in a Game is a very specific genre that is not necessarily of the same type as everything that is isekai. That's the first thing. And the second thing is why I believe that is I believe that isekai is not a genre, it is a plot device. So literally any genre can use isekai plot device to tell the story. That doesn't mean it's an isekai genre. It could be a fantasy genre like Re:Zero, or it can be a science fiction genre like Sword Art Online. And why that makes more sense to me than calling it an isekai genre is because I think something like Re:Zero is so narratively different than something like Sword Art Online, even though it's technically the same formula, because one is stuck in a game where you use game mechanics and you try to get out and you abuse the mechanics and you have health bars and you have damage and you have like buffs and debuffs and like all this game stuff that is very intricately like irrevocably into the story that is part of the narrative, as opposed to like just a generic fantasy like Re:Zero, where it's more loose and more organic and there's no like, you know, trying to like hack the system or whatever. So I think those are very different.
It's also worth pointing out that isekai can exist both in drama and in comedy. I mean, you mentioned Re:Zero, which is pretty dramatic, but you also have isekai like Konosuba, which is purely a comedy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I get what you're saying. It's more of a plot device because when you think about a lot of the isekai, all you know about isekai is that something happens, now they're in a new world, and that's literally it. Like, there's no other reason for it to be mentioned ever since, because then now it's about the character just exploring this world. So it's kind of just
typically
like...
the only like not experience, exposure you have to the world that the main character comes from is in like the first episode or the first chapter, and then after that it's completely just forgotten about in the story.
Now, that's not to say that there aren't isekai that focus a lot on the fact that they come from a different world, because there's plenty of them that are like, oh, this world doesn't have stuff from my original world, so they use a lot of plot devices of like, oh, well, because I've isekai'd, or I've been summoned, or I've been transported, or I've been reincarnated in this new world, I can use my old world knowledge to help me get ahead.
That's been like the selling point of a lot of isekai from like the last 2 years, like from 2018 onward. You had that one about the cell phone, yeah,
Yeah.
in another world with my smartphone.
Yeah.
Where like the entire premise is like this character has a smartphone and they're just like a fucking magician to all these other people in this fantasy world that doesn't even have electricity.
Well, okay, so first of all, I read that smartphone isekai. It's it's a stupid device of like, yeah, I have a smartphone that has multiple functions, but it's not the main selling point of like, oh, I come from a different world, so my smartphone does everything for me. There's like more stuff to it than that. Like, as much as I agree, smartphone isekai is really trash. I don't like it that much either. I still read it. I don't like it, but I still read it because I am an isekai slut. Like, I read.
At least you admit it.
I read so much trash isekai solely because it's isekai, and as long as they have an OPMC, I really don't care. So I'm just like, I'll read this trash. I'll sift through it, you know. But no, I wanted to talk about Overlord and Log Horizon, for example, because
I mean, Overlord is an example of metagaming where he takes his out-of-world knowledge to abuse the in-world restrictions.
Yeah, but it's nothing
and the
like
characters.
But the thing about Overlord is that it doesn't really have an actual gaming system like Log Horizon does. Log Horizon is very heavy.
It has tiers of spells.
Yeah, it has tier spells. But
I think
I'm saying
it's
they don't
definitely
look
a
at
hybrid.
things. Yeah, but it's more of a fantasy story than it is like, oh, hey, video game. It's just like you can apply video game concepts to a fantasy world. Sure.
You can. I think that the main character for Overlord really likes to apply video game concepts like constantly to the world.
Well, yeah, because but the new world that he travels to, it's not a video game. You know,
okay, that's
unlike
true.
Like Log Horizon is more video game because they still have like they do raids. They have like item descriptions on stuff, and they follow like raid tactics about buffers, tankers, like and like yeah, just like typical raid shit. If you've ever done a raid in an MMO, it's Log Horizon plays exactly like they're still in a video game. Even though technically the world's transformed and they're still in Tokyo. It's weird. It's a weird fucking thing.
Are they? Wait, you read it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Wow, spoilers!
No, they talk about... It's in the anime. Go watch season 2.
It is not.
Yes, when they go to the radio station, right, and they talk about the moon, they're like, oh, the game was based on old Japan, right? The map is just 3 times bigger than Japan, but it's based on Japan, distance-wise. So they actually had, like, stations and stuff. They went to that radio station that existed in a real city.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's right, bitch. You want to talk to me about isekai?
Wow.
You want to come to me about isekai? Anyway. Man, speaking of fucking tropes and isekai, Truck-kun, man. Beat, motherfucker.
I was gonna say,
find a more creative way to kill your characters.
I was gonna say, show mentioned like it being a plot device. I think it probably would be more accurately described as a narrative formula because you have these common elements that a lot of isekai have. Obviously not all, but yeah, almost all of them start out either with a character getting killed and reincarnated or summoned or just like getting transported against their will to the new world. And yeah, Truck-kun is one of the big ones where a character just randomly gets hit by a truck. I will say one thing I actually really enjoyed about the opening to Slime Tensei was the fact that they literally just have the main character get stabbed in the back. He gets fucking murdered.
Yeah, and then the last thing he tells his kohai was like, delete my computer.
Be sure to delete everything off my hard drive.
And then at the end of the first episode, the kohai actually does it.
Yeah, and you see that.
And he's like, I won't forget you, senpai.
He prays over it, and then in the end, I don't know if this is in the manga or the light novel or whatever, but it has like a little PSA underneath this. Don't try this at home.
Yeah, don't throw your computer in the bathtub, kids. But yeah, Truck-kun, I don't know when it started with Truck-kun, when it became a trope. Like, it's so meta now that there's even a manga called Isekai Reincarnator who goes around with a truck and just isekais people. It's like worlds. Yeah, the plot is that worlds make bids for heroes and they send these contracts out to this company, and this company has to go kill that person to isekai them.
Oh my.
Wow.
How violent.
It's funny. It's fucking funny.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, there's a lot of ridiculous ways. It's just a plot device. Like we have the truck where it's like, oh, there's someone who's about to get hit by something, and I'm gonna go save them, and they get killed. Or in what's that guy's name? Oh my god, the guy from fucking Konosuba.
Kazuma.
Hi, Kazuma does.
Hi, Kazuma does.
Yeah, like Kazuma's case, he goes to save the girl, but it's like, oh, you're actually stupid as fuck. You didn't have to do that. Now you shit yourself and died of embarrassment. And there's also other ones that are like, God dropped a flower pot from heaven and accidentally killed you. Whoops.
Or like in ReZero, I mean, I don't think it's even been explained exactly how Subaru got to his other world yet.
So, and then that's the other one. So for Subaru's case in ReZero, he literally just leaves the convenience store and enters into the other world.
Yeah, he blinks his eyes and then he's in the other world.
Yeah.
So that's one of the
Honestly,
transportation ones.
I'd prefer the Subaru case than the truck case, because the truck case is stupid.
Well,
No,
because
I don't think it's necessarily stupid. If it had only been done once and it never happened again, it'd be like, okay, that's it. The fact that so many people hate it, including me, I think is because it's become a cliche.
Well, it's just
yeah.
okay, like, if you die and get reincarnated, fine. But why do you have to die to a truck? That's not very believable.
because delivery trucks are probably more
maybe that's a
likely to
problem
crash
in
into
Japan.
you.
And maybe this
It
is
might
really
be,
a
I don't
critique
know.
of the
And maybe
Japanese...
it is. I mean, what's the licensing
society.
requirements for a truck driver
Oh
in
my
Japan?
god.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, my problem with truck-kun isekaiing is that every time it's my problem with reincarnation isekai genre is that this implies that there's a higher being at play here, because they always, not always, they usually explain that when you get isekai'd or when you get tensei'd, you'll meet God and God will give you OP skills or this or that. So it implies that there's different alternate universes and there's a higher world, right? But then they never usually ever go back to it. And I'm like, wait, you just got reincarnated into this whole new world. You have amazing powers, yet you don't acknowledge that there's a God out there that can fucking rip your soul from one dimension and put it in the other. Like, hold the fuck on. Like,
Also,
I like how though in Konosuba they acknowledge it and then they just take the piss with it, because it's like Aqua is this person and she's fucking useless at anything else.
a lot of reincarnation is not even reincarnation, because they just get like they just appear in the world. They're not born in it.
no, there are some that are they get reborn in the world. Like
There
they start
are,
as children.
but a lot of them are not.
Yeah, a lot of them are just like, you were killed, so
one
we're
where
gonna
they-
revive
one
you as
where
a
they-
kid.
One word the character literally gets reborn is Saga of Tanya the Evil. Like, that character dies and then literally has to relive through an entire childhood
Yeah. And
with the knowledge of a middle-aged man.
yeah. But yeah, it's just a plot device, you know, like whether it's you died and you reincarnated or you got transported for whatever fucking reason. Like you literally fell into a fucking water ditch and then now you've teleported. Like, it's weird. There's also like summoning ones, like God, which ones? What's it? The freaking the hero was super strong, Tsue hero, whatever.
Sure.
I don't fucking remember.
Bitch, you are the isekai trash god. You
No,
tell us.
I know it's called Tsue hero, but it's like the cautious hero. That's what the English title was.
Oh, okay.
Cautious here. Oh yes, I
Yeah.
remember that.
I freaking love the cautious hero because it was fucking hilarious. But that's a summoning type isekai, right? Where it's like, oh, the gods needed help, so we're gonna summon people, and they have that trope as well. There's also the wrestler isekai, the one where he gets summoned to be a hero to defeat the demon lord, but he loves animals too much, so he only wrestles people and then like tries to open a pet store, and that's the entire fucking. It's written by the same person who does Konosuba, the freaking masked hero one. It's so. It is stupid, but I love it. I fucking love isekai because yes, it's a boring trope. Yes, there's so many fucking different isekai, and they're all kind of the fucking same, you know, with the truck-kun and reincarnated OPMCs.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what attracts me.
And demon lords.
And demon lords. But I don't know what attracts me to just watching all the stupid shows and like reading it. It's all not great, but it's entertaining, and I just love it.
I heard someone once say that they looked at the isekai genre, subgenre, formula, whatever you want to call it, as a deconstruction of fantasy.
How?
And I don't necessarily think that that's inherently wrong, because I do think there are some isekai that break down certain fantasy tropes, but I think that's looking way too much into it. I think it's more like accurate to say that it's just a different type of fantasy.
Honestly, I think a lot of isekai, especially the ones that involve harems, are just a very cheap form of self-insertion to just give fan service to like a very basic formulaic fantasy. Just like no work. Like as a viewer, like you can pretend that, oh, for no effort involved, I could possibly just die and go to another world and then have all these women just like shoving their punani dasani into my mouth. And like that's great, but that's also really boring.
For something like that, because there are a fair amount of isekai that involve, or at least end up involving, a male main character having a harem of women following him around. I think there's something about like the whole you say a self-insert character, which is true, but like the whole idea of like the male fantasy.
Yeah,
of
because
like giving up all of your boring life and then just being worshipped.
Yeah, so a lot of the isekai
for no effort.
A lot of the isekai genre, they always start with like whoever the guy is, he's a loser in real life, right? He's a NEET or he's done this or that. Like even in Slime Tensei,
a lot of them are NEETs.
Yeah, a lot of them are NEETs.
Fucking Subaru, Kazuma.
Yeah, it shows not wrong. A lot of this does make it like, oh, what if you just died, but you could go to a fantasy world and fulfill your dreams of being overpowered or this or that. And I understand what Show's saying. There's a lot of trash out there that is just like, oh, you're a trash person, but now you're overpowered and you get to live your fantasies out, and it's just boring. Yeah. But
I will say, in the case of ReZero, it takes that concept and says, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like ReZero anyway, but...
I know, you don't like suffer porn.
I don't.
You don't like ReZero? What is wrong with you?
We have this conversation every year.
Yeah, he didn't like ReZero from the beginning, so...
I didn't like it from the beginning.
Why?
Because it's fucking stupid how Subaru... Anyway. Because he's not an overpowered MC, that's why.
Uh-huh.
I need my trash boys.
Actual thoughtful writing. Okay.
Thoughtful
Honestly,
writing?
That is like my favorite part about ReZero, because then like it's actually creative how he solves the problems. It isn't just, oh, I call upon the power of the gods to solve all my problems. It's like, no, girl, you have to use your fucking head.
Here's the thing. No, we're not getting into this. I'm not getting into this. Fucking time.
I would argue that Subaru's power that he has is kind of OP, because it's instead of turning death into a permanent state, it becomes a learning experience.
Yeah, but that doesn't solve the problem. Like, he still has to solve... You can have a million lives, but you still have to solve the problem with no powers.
Yeah, but Subaru is just so fucking stupid! You don't understand how stupid he is.
He is stupid, but it's interesting to see him figure it out eventually.
No, you just like watching him die.
It makes it like that as well. All the stakes are like a million miles high. Like, the stakes are high, but I mean... Even if he fails, he can try again. It'll probably be worse the second time around.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't like ReZero because I don't like Subaru as a character.
You don't what?
I don't like him as a character. Like,
Me neither. I hate him, but I love ReZero. I hate Subaru. I want him to die permanently.
Me too, because he's such a stupid ass.
Yeah, he's
idiot.
an asshole.
Oh god!
But I love the show.
Do you like That's so weird. How can you like? He's literally the big. Anyway, this is why we're not talking about ReZero. I don't want to talk about this.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Anyway, I love isekai. I like trash. I like OPMCs. There's certain things I do dislike about isekai. Mainly being that it's a very oversaturated market. And
yeah, for sure. Now it is.
There's some that are just like, before they do like cool isekai intros, like the reason you're being transported, and they give a setting. But there's other ones that are just lazy, and they'll literally be like, oops, God dropped a flower pot and killed you. Sorry. Hey man, I can't bring you back to your old world, but you can live in this one. Oh, also, here's 10 OP power skills. All right, see ya, man. And I'm just like, Well,
Stupid.
it's isekai, so I'm still gonna fucking read it. But that was
Wow.
lazy, fucking authors. That was fucking lazy.
Yeah, I like the idea of isekai. I think that it's a fun concept, but a lot of the time, like you said, it's very like they employ it in uncreative ways, and there's a lot of uncreative elements, and that's not. I'm not like just the pure idea of isekai is not enough for me to sit through all this boring bullshit. But I think there's a lot of potential in the idea of isekai.
I feel very similar to how show feels, and I think that if we look at it as a narrative formula, if you start with that, that's fine, but you can't just end with that. So you have to build other shit around it and on top of it and below it. You can't just rely on that formula to get you through, and just like you can't just snap your fingers and say, "All right, everyone go." Like it gets boring after a while.
Yeah, I like for me stuff like ReZero, the Overlord novels, and Grimgar, the anime and the novels, use that like I don't know about Grimgar. That's arguable, but for me it is. They use they use the isekai formula, but they also have really good writing. So
yeah.
That actually there's no but.
Overlord
There should be an
writing.
and, because that's double good things. Okay?
Yeah.
But I also agree with John that the market is 100% oversaturated. It has been for years. And I think because it's become this trend, and I don't know, I mean, we think of isekai as being a Japanese thing, and it largely is, but I wouldn't say that it's exclusively either. I mean, we talk.
Have you heard of Narnia, the original isekai?
Well,
exactly.
No, it's not the original isekai, although C.S. Lewis did write that many, many years ago. I would argue that the original isekai is Mark Twain's Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Who?
God damn it.
But neither of you have read it, so I'll completely gloss over that.
Mark Twain? Freaking, this ain't no Huckleberry Finn shit. Get out of here, old man.
But no, I mean, I think you can't just rely on the isekai format. You got to come with something better. That's why, I mean, before isekai like really exploded and took off, yeah, there were some that I like. I still fucking love No Game No Life. I like ReZero. I like Konosuba. I like Saga of Tanya the Evil. I love Slime Tensei. But you gotta come with more than like, oh, you fucking had a heart attack and died. Here's your OP power, and here's your random harem of generic anime girls. I mean,
yeah.
I no. I mean, you gotta give me more than that. So yeah, I mean, there's some that I really like, but most of them are really, really bad. Like,
but you gotta understand that these. Go ahead and finish your thought.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, there are some out there now that are really popular, and I'm like, why? What has this brought to the table that others haven't done before? A good example is Shield Hero. I fucking hate Shield Hero. I don't understand why so many people like it.
Because freaking Squirrel Girl, is she a squirrel? Raccoon Girl. Raccoon
Girl. That's it. It literally appeals to this one little fetish, and that's why everyone likes it. No one gives a shit about the story.
Yeah, the story is really trash, but the side characters are awesome, so that's why people can forgive it. I'm like, well,
okay, that's fair enough. I mean, if show can hate the main character of ReZero and actually like the writing, I guess you can. The other way around could be too. I mean, people hate the writing but love the characters.
Yeah. But it's like. Well, you got to understand that a bunch of these web novels spawned off because, hey, this is the hot genre. This is what's getting picked up. Publishers are picking up these stories, so let's make a fantasy story with isekai involved. So we can just have the label on it. Like, there's a trend even in isekai. Like, if you watch Death March. In Death March, there's a lot of cooking involved, right? And a bunch of other isekai after Death March decided we're going to include gratuitous amounts of cooking porn inside of our stories as well. Because that's what's hot and that's what's selling. And there's
Wait, there's Food Wars and Isekai?
Yeah, there's Food War Isekai. There's Food Wars Isekai. There actually is one, but that's not the point here. There is literally loads of types of different Isekai that have every genre. But I'm saying a lot of the Isekai started having a lot of cooking involved in it, even in Shield Hero, and because Death March started doing it, and it got popular, and it got picked up for translation to make into a light novel. So then other genres of Isekai were like, oh, we should add cooking too. And it's like... They just jump on the bandwagon because it's what sells, man. It's what gets clicks.
I will say, if there are a couple of pros to this whole isekai trend, it has been that, or at least one of them has been that it's gotten a lot of authors, particularly light novel authors, published that probably would never have gotten noticed otherwise, and it's given them like something to put in their portfolio so they can move on to maybe other projects down the road. And it's like, hey, I already published this, give me a shot on this.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's such an overflooded market that
it is.
It's really easy to pick what isekai is going to be like picked up, because I know what is good in an isekai and what's going to make for a quote unquote good anime. And they usually pick it up, whichever I think they're reading.
You were telling us, like, I think a year and a half before Slime Tensei got an anime adaptation. It was like, mark my words, this is going to get an anime adaptation.
Yeah, of course. Of course it was. It has all the hallmark makings of a good isekai, well, quote unquote good isekai anime. Like, things that will make it have sales. But then it comes down and it boils down to, like, the execution of the anime, like what's that fucking, I can't remember. Oh my god, Mouse on my retry. Basically a shitty version of Overlord. The novel itself is not bad. Like, I like it. It's not as good as Overlord with the world building and all that stuff, but the novel itself is pretty entertaining. It has good supporting characters and the world's cool. And it's an OPMC, of course. However, the anime, utter shit. Like, it was so bad. And I was like, God damn, I like reading this. Why is the anime so shitty? And, Smartphone Isekai, that one, again, pretty poor writing, but it wasn't as bad as the anime made it seem. The anime literally has transition pages that were like, yada yada, anyway, problem solved. And I was like, dude, I get that it kind of does that in the manga, but you didn't have to gloss over it, because it didn't do that in the web novel. But, whatever. And it's just sad. It's sad to see a bunch of my likable isekai web novels and light novels that I read turn into utter shit because of the anime, and then people hate on the isekai genre even more. There's still some good stories out there, even if they're cliche, even if they have like the same boring openings. The system and the worlds are still interesting to read.
Yeah, there's a lot of trash, but don't like put all isekai in the trash section in your brain. There are some good ones still left out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at the season chart, like, pick, well, maybe not this year, because this year's kind of fucked when it comes to anime coming out. But like in the past, like last year, pick any season, I guarantee you there will be at least 4 or 5 isekai anime airing during that season.
Oh yeah, and what made me... Yeah, because
it's been the hot new thing since 2014.
Girl, time is relative.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I'm still 13. And what? I've been 13 for like 20 years.
Oh my god. Anyway. No, because the reason I was talking about, yes, there's a lot of trash, is because now we've reached the point in anime watchers that as soon as they see, like, people see, oh, it's an isekai, a lot of people go, oh, it's an isekai, it's gonna be trash. I'm like, oh, hold on now. Like, it might be trash. You know what? It probably is gonna be trash, but don't think it's gonna be trash just because it's an oversaturated market and there's a bunch of isekai out there that are trash and they're bad, poorly executed. Like, there are still good stories, man.
Being an isekai is not a selling point, but is also not a trash point. So... yeah.
Judging an entire,
you shouldn't introduce the show to your friend as an isekai. You should be just like, this is a good show.
This is a fantasy show. Yeah, this is like...
Or, hey, a great selling point for Saga of Tanya the Evil is the fact that it's like a fucking World War I simulator.
Dude, my friend introduced me to that show, and she was just like, Psycho Lolly drops nuclear bombs. And I was like, I'm fucking in. Let's watch this.
Oh, no.
She literally has the personality of a nuclear bomb.
And it's a good show. And even, Inuyasha is a freaking
Produced
isekai,
by
right?
Studio Nut.
Nut.
The best studio name ever.
But Inuyasha, I liked watching that, and that was isekai. I didn't even realize that was an isekai. I didn't think about it. Freaking Digimon. I love Digimon. I didn't realize that was an isekai either.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Digimon, digital
The
monster.
best isekai.
So when people are like, "Oh, isekai is automatically trash," I'm like, "Dude, you used to watch isekai and you liked isekai, all right? You just didn't realize it was isekai because it's not. It's now that it's popular. Now everything that is isekai has to be trash. Like, it's not true.
Those older ones, that isekai was never used as a selling point.
Yeah,
Ever.
It was just a plot device. That's like
It
what the
was
show
everything
said.
else about it was used as a selling point. Like Inuyasha was a fucking shonen before it was an isekai.
Yeah, like the
It was
devil.
a damn good one too.
The devil is a part-timer is a reverse isekai, but I didn't even think about it being an isekai. I just like, oh, the devil is in our world and works at McDonald's, and it's fucking hilarious.
No, McRonald's.
Macaronald's. That's right.
McRonald's.
And competing with
That,
KFC.
I believe that manga is actually ending soon. As a matter of fact,
Oh God.
I know it's a lot of shit ending.
Thinking back to...
I mean, Gate is a reverse isekai.
what do you mean?
and that's
Isn't that
literally
just a
just-
straight isekai? How's it reverse?
No, they come to our world.
No, we go to their world.
Wait, both happens though. They
Okay,
come to
hold on,
ours and
hold
we
on.
go to theirs.
Gate happens
'Cause, like,
where
this
we get
portal thing
invaded
opens.
by them first, but then
That's
we go
only
and
for like
attack them.
one episode.
Yeah, it technically I wouldn't say Gate is a reverse isekai because they spend most of the time
In
in
the other
the
world.
fantasy world.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But like, I don't even really think about that as an isekai as much as it is because it's literally just Nippon Strong. Like, what the fuck? This is just to recruit people to the JSDF.
Very
Yeah, that was kinda-
unconventional. Honestly,
That's-
it's better than getting hit by a truck.
I guess. Yeah,
That is
magical
true, I will
gate
give you
portal that
that.
opens up when the stars align and magical bullshit happens. Like,
See,
yeah.
See, Narnia had it right. They went through the closet, and that is the best way to get into an isekai.
Yeah.
Just go into the closet and stay there.
Get in the closet.
Yeah, if you are love isekai, walk right into that closet
Oh my
and
god.
shut the door.
Okay.
And never come back out. You
Please.
stay in that closet.
Please.
I will say another. I guess this could be a pro. I mean, I know we've talked about Sword Art Online not really being an isekai, but even if you think of it as an isekai, a pro that I can attribute probably specifically to Sword Art Online is it has raised both awareness and popularity of light novels in the West.
I guess. I mean, like, I don't know if I would attribute it. Like, I guess yes, it did help raise the sales because SAO is just popular in general. But I learned about it just because Jason was like, "Hey, man, you should read this," and I was like, "What's this? Web novels, light novels? What the fuck?" And then after I was done reading a certain web novel, Mushoku Tensei, I had this recommendation to go read Overlord, and I found the best fucking thing I've ever read in my life. So I fucking love Overlord.
Overlord is amazing.
I remember when Sword Art Online came out, particularly the first season of the anime, and people were like, God, I want more of this because it was like super popular when it first came out.
Yeah.
Like, people realized that it was based on a light novel, so they rushed to go buy the light novels, or at least what was translated in English at that time. And then people realized, wow, there's other fucking anime that I like that are based on light novels that maybe didn't get a full adaptation. Let me go read those.
But I
So,
really
I just remember not a lot of people talking about light novels before Sword Art Online, and afterwards I remember people talking about them a lot. So I'm not saying that Sword Art Online is the only reason that light novels became more popular in the West. I am saying I do believe that it's a big contributing factor.
Okay, I can understand where you're coming from, but I think I really attribute more to like the fact that we live in such a amazing digital age that we're able to get source material a lot easier now.
That's true.
So
I mean, especially with digital distribution of books, I mean, that has helped
Yeah, like-
immensely.
honestly, before, even if you wanted to read the source material, you wouldn't be able to get it, right? If we think back just to as early as 2010, right? 10 years ago, it wasn't as easy as going down to your local freaking Japanese bookstore and having all the things you wanted to read, because there was only select things that were translated and localized. You wouldn't 10 years ago, I wouldn't imagine being able to have any freaking light novels, right? Like, we only had manga still. We had DVDs, mangas, Blu-rays, whatever. We didn't have
if you were
light
lucky,
novels.
like your local Barnes and Noble would probably have a manga section. It wouldn't be very big, but it had it. But there were no light novels.
Yeah, but
and really, before 2010, I would agree with you. Probably the best way you were going to get light novels is by sailing the high seas online.
Yeah, and it's thanks to people realizing, like, oh, when we localized light novels and web novels, we can make money, you know, and because of that, thanks to, like, as much as I don't like them, what's her name? JP Translations? Was that the website that went legit?
I think so.
Something Translations. There was a High Seas freaking translators web group that had, like, multiple teams doing different series that was, like, illegal, and then they became, like, official. So they released, like, official translated light novels now. But it's, you know, this is thanks to that, you know, the people online having a presence and then showing the people in Japan, like, hey, people in the West outside of Japan want to read this. Like, you should probably localize it to a different language. And if we're really being honest, it's attributed to the rise of anime culture and stuff in China. That's really what opened Japan's mind to, like, oh, we can get different, not domestic markets, international markets, mainly China and Southeast Asia.
Yeah. And now I would say probably increasingly North America and Europe.
Well, I know France has always loved anime and manga. They freaking love manga in France.
So do Brazilians. Holy shit.
Yeah, and well, Brazil's huge. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't necessarily say Sao was a great, like, starter of why light novels are popular now. It's just more of, we're in a better age where it's easier to get it, and that's why.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I definitely think that the ease of access certainly helped a lot, but learning that Sword Art Online, I think, was based on a light novel also helped. Maybe since they kind of happened at the same time. When the first season of Sword Art Online come out? Was it 2013?
I think so.
I think it was 2013. But anyway, I don't know. It seems to have been happening at the same time, but no, 2012 is when it came out. Holy shit, has it been that long?
Wow.
Fuck.
It's been 8 years. Holy crap.
It's almost been a decade. Jesus.
Ugh. Yikes.
God, I'm old. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other, like, huge pros to the isekai genre. We've kind of been shitting a lot on it, but I wanted to kind of end on a positive note.
Well, a positive note is that it's just a freaking... It may not be its own full-fledged genre. It's just a plot device, but it's still brought us more entertainment, right? Like, we have more authors who make more things. Like, you know, the Konosuba light novels. Like, the author obviously now can make different freaking things, like the wrestler isekai that was super funny, Kemono Mask or whatever, Kemono Michi Mask. Fuck, I can't remember.
I feel like the authors of both ReZero and Konosuba can probably make whatever they want now, and it'll get published.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. You know, it's more entertainment. Like, as long as you just don't care too much about the fact that, oh, they got hit by a truck or there's some stupid reason why they get isekai'd. Who cares, right? It's just the beginning.
I think at this point, if you go into any isekai expecting some kind of elaborate setup, you're going to be disappointed, because I think all the creative setups have pretty much been exhausted at this point.
Yeah, it's, again, to me, I care more about the world building and how it's executed, right? How much do I like the characters? How well is the story told to me? What's their growth like? Like, does it make sense? Is it a fluid story? Can I get immersed in this fantasy novel? Because at the end of the day, it's all just entertainment. It's all just fantasy shit that we want to read. Whether you're super into, like, boring, bland, self-insert ones, or you're into interesting, like, character developments and, like, worlds, you know, whatever you like. And again, this is just a net positive to me. The fact that it just exists and we have more fantasy areas to explore, more worlds to be in, that's just a positive. We have more things to be immersed into.
I guess, even though most of the fantasy worlds are basically identical.
Yeah, but you could say that about, like, every fantasy, even in the Western. You know, everything's based off of Tolkien, right? Everything.
A lot of it is, yeah. You're not wrong.
But it doesn't mean it's not fun to fucking read Game of Thrones until you get to the last book, whenever that gets out released.
2083.
But my point remains the same.
But like even in the anime genre, I feel like the anime medium, the fantasy genre of the anime medium, not including isekai, I feel is more diverse than the settings that are in isekai.
I would agree with that too.
Okay.
I would 100% agree with that. I mean, you take a look at something like Goblin Slayer, for example. I mean, yeah, it's got a lot of fantasy tropes in it, but it's also hyper violent.
It's about goblins, dude.
No, it's about goblins fucking people is what it is.
Well, yeah, because in a real like life setting, if we had fantasy monsters that were supposedly this strong, like it would be like freaking Berserk, where the simplest of monsters would be able to just fuck everyone up.
Berserk is a good example of another like really creative fantasy in anime and manga.
God, I love Berserk.
I mentioned this before, but one thing about isekai that I think particularly is a great thing about it is that it gives the opportunity, even if it's not stuck in the game, for the main character to metagame or bring their knowledge of the real world to abuse the knowledge of the common knowledge of what exists in the new world. And that, as a gamer, in quotes, who likes to metagame in games and abuse mechanics to get unfair advantages, don't come at me. I can relate.
I can't imagine why more people don't want to play games with you, Show.
I'm so lonely.
If you really like that type of stuff, Korean webtoons, like webcomics, and they're not manhwa, but like, I don't know. Yeah, they're just
Say it right.
Manhwa.
Oh dear.
Manhwa.
No, like the Korean web novels. They have for some reason they're super into like game genre web novels. But I like them. There's a couple that I really like. I'm reading one currently called Overgeared, and it's not like a isekai. It's just they have full dive. It's full dive gaming. There's no real world consequences, but it's really good. There's a lot of game mechanics in it, and there's a lot of character growth for the main character, and it's just funny to watch. But I don't want to spoil too much, but if you like that type of stuff, like the gaming mechanics stuff, definitely check out Korean web novels.
Mm-hmm. And also
like Legendary Moonlight Sculptor and
and also just the idea of metagaming allows for a lot of complicated mind games or like complicated use of planning and tactics and strategy to get something to work. So I really like that aspect that is possible, or is possible by this plot device of isekai. So
I'm kind of surprised you don't like the Slime Tensei anime.
Isn't that just a harem?
No, because what it is essentially watching a really good player play a game of Civ.
Listen, I don't
in a
like
fantasy
Slime
world
Tensei because the main character's not hot. Okay.
You've clearly never seen his human form.
I have. That's not hot.
First of all, how dare you look at Rimuru-sama with those lewd eyes, okay? He/she is just meant to be king of the monsters, okay? Do not lewd the king. Second of all, I didn't really have a second point.
Wow.
I like Slime Tensei because the anime was really well executed. Like, it's so fucking pretty. I love the system with the sage.
We're gonna ignore the part with the orc army. That was not good.
Yeah, that was. But I mean, that was such a minor role in the overall story anyway. Like,
it was really bad CG though.
Well, season 2 with like what actually the real story in season 2 when it comes to the Demon Lord arc, that's like where it gets hype. So who cares? That's how I feel.
I just like how like so much of the first season of Slime Tensei is literally just him in an early game of Civ.
Basically, yeah. But anyway,
just building cities and forming alliances.
Anyway, I think we've prattled on long enough about this.
But we
My
forgot
final
the
thoughts is,
most important question.
oh my gosh,
Should isekai
What
be
is-
purged?
no.
Yes.
What? No.
Just
Gotta find the diamond in the rough, man. Like, I would. Sure, we get like 50 shitty isekai per one decent isekai, but I'd rather have that than no good isekai. Okay.
Do you know? No, you know what? No, it shouldn't be purged. Do you know why? We've gotten a second season of fucking ReZero. We've gotten a second season and a fucking movie of Konosuba. We're getting a fucking second season of regular Magic High School. You know what? We're not getting a fucking second season of No Game No Life. Fuck you, Madhouse.
never gonna
True.
happen.
Never gonna happen.
It's like the fucking white whale of anime. Have you seen the second season of No Game No Life? No, neither have I, because it doesn't fucking exist yet.
Yeah, Overlord got 3 seasons. Log Horizon got 2 seasons.
I think though, seeing the second and third season, and I think they're making a fourth season at Madhouse of Overlord. I think now we know why Madhouse doesn't make additional seasons of the anime that they make.
Because it gets way worse. Holy shit.
Listen, it was always
Maybe
bad.
we always made that joke before about Madhouse not being able to count past 1. Maybe there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's oversaturated. But yeah, John's right. You just got to find the diamonds in the rough. Every so often, one really good one will come out. And I was kind of off the isekai thing, and then until a Slime Tensei came out, and I fucking fell in love with Slime Tensei. Mostly because John kept bugging me while it was originally airing, saying, "You need to give this a shot. I think you'll like it. You need to give this a shot." I'm like, "Okay."
Because you
And then
hated
after 3
isekai.
episodes, I came back and I'm like, "Holy shit,
Because you
John,
hated
this is fucking
isekai
amazing."
so much. You're like, oh, I fucking hate isekai. You're one of those kids who are like, oh, it's an isekai? It's probably shitty. I was like, no, don't you dare have that. No. Like, fuck you, dude. Isekai's good.
I just remember coming back to you like, holy shit, John, this is so good, and it was on a voice call, so I couldn't see you, but I could just hear you going, just smugly smiling, like, you
That's
bitch.
right. I'm the source material for a fucking reason.
Yeah, that's about it. That's our thoughts on Isekai. It's probably never going away.
Burn it with fire.
Yes. So thank you all there for dropping in to listen to us. Check out the description below to find us on other platforms, on social media, and our Discord server. Check out our merch store for cool shirts, stickers, and more. We also have some affiliate links below where you can buy Camp Buddy. It really helps us out when you click those links. And with that, I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Remember to lock your closets.
What?
Hey, John.
What?